Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvardhari
Jaya Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana
Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira
Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira
Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvardhari
Jaya Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira
Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira
Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya
Radha Madhava
Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha
Kunja Bihari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
सब बोलिए
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Chant loudly please
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Jaya Radha Gopinath Radhe Jaya
Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Radhe
Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol जय कलयुग पावन हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
धनं सेवा नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरये
ततो जयमुदीरये
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्राये शोभदेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके
भक्ति उत्तमा श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
भक्ति भवति नैष्ठिके
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
देवकी नन्दनाय च
देवकी नंदनाय च
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
नित्य गोपकुमाराय
गोविन्दाय नमो नमः
गोविंदाय नमो नमः
हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु
हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु
दीनबन्धो जगत्पते
दीनबंधु जगतपते
गोपेश गोपिका कान्त
गोपेश गोपिका कांता
राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते
राधा कांता नमोस्तुते
तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी
तप्त कांचन गौरांगी
राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी
राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी
वृषभानुसुते देवी
वृषभानु सुते देवी
प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये
प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च
कृपा सिंधु भैव च
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
नमो विष्णुपादाय
नमो विष्णुपादाय
कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले
कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले
श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त
श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत
स्वामिनिति नामिने
स्वामी नित्यामिने
नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी
गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे
गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी
निर्विशेष शून्यवादी
निर्विशेष सुंदरवादिनी
पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणी
प्रासतते सितारिणी
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
प्रभु नित्यानंद
प्रभु नित्यानंद
श्री अद्वैत गदाधर
श्री अद्वैत गदाधर
श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद
श्रीवासादि गौरव भक्तवृंद
हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा
हरे कृष्ण
कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे
हरे राम
हरे राम
राम राम हरे हरे
राम राम हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagwat Gita class. Thank you for coming on the Sunday morning, taking out your precious time. We are continuing our discussion from Bhagwat Gita as it is. We are on chapter 2. So far we have discussed some very crucial concepts of Bhagwat Gita. In the first chapter we heard Arjun. He is telling Krishna, please place my chariot in between the two armies. Senayor ubhayor madhye ratham sthapayame achyuta. And Krishna, he places the chariot right in front of, anyone knows? Bhishma and Drona, because they were dearmost to Arjun. And Arjun is seeing 5 generations assembled in front of him, not for a family get together, but for a fight. and they all were hell-bent to kill each other. 5 generations were there: grandfathers, fathers, brothers, sons and grandsons. And Arjun gets into complete confusion and bewilderment. He says, Krishna, I can't fight. I am feeling compassion for all these soldiers. They'll be killed and I'll be responsible. I'll become sinful. How will I enjoy alone if I'll kill all the family members? And if the men are killed, women may be exploited. Who will protect them? Dynasty will be destroyed. And then in the second chapter, he says, Krishna, I am completely confused. He surrenders to Krishna. Last time I think we discussed 8th verse or 7th? 8, right? 8 हो गया था ना? हाँ. So we'll continue from the 9th verse. In the 8th verse, in the 7th verse, second chapter, 7th verse, Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. Shishyaste aham. I am your disciple. Krishna may say, well, I am your friend, Arjun. Why are you accepting me as guru? So he's testing Arjuna's convictions. In our spiritual path, we all will be tested for our convictions. We'll be tested for our faith. We'll be tested for our understanding about spiritual knowledge. Krishna is testing Arjuna. He's telling, you can go to Vyasdev, you can go to Vasishtha, there are great sages, you go and get knowledge from them. Why are you coming to me? In 8th verse, Arjun reconfirms his dependence on Krishna. Nahi prapashyami mamapanudya. I can't see anyone else who can drive away with this grief. Please help me. Now, after this, we'll start from 9th verse. We'll recite this 9th verse. Sanjaya uvacha.
Sanjaya Vacha.
Evam uktva rishikesham.
Evam Mukta Rishikesha.
Gudakeshah parantapaha.
Prakesha Parantava.
Na yotsya iti govinda.
Nayotsi Govinda.
Uktva tushnim babhuvaha.
Ulan Sevinto.
Translation, somebody can read, please.
Sanjay said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent.
Now Sanjay, he's continuing the discussion. So camera keeps shifting from Sanjay to Arjun to Krishna. So now the camera is on Arjun. So Sanjay is saying, speaking thus, evam uktva, he told, Arjuna told to Rishikesha. Who is Rishikesh? That is Krishna. The Rishikesh word means Rishika. Rishika means senses. And Isha means controller. We have heard this word hundreds of times, Ishwar. What's the meaning of Ishwar? Ishwar means controller. We all are little Ishwars. Somebody is controlling his family. Somebody is controlling his society or nation or the world. कोई खुद को control कर ले वही बड़ी बात है. So it is so very difficult sometimes. Hari Bol, Prabhu. After a long time. So Rishikesha means one who is the controller of the senses. Rishika means senses. We all know that if we are controlled, then we can achieve a lot. But the problem is this world is full of distractions. They don't allow us to stay focused. And the word Rishikesh means if somebody connects to the Lord, then he helps us control our senses because he is the controller of the senses. Eva Muktva Rishikesha. Another very interesting word used here is Gudakesha and Parantapaha. What's the meaning of Gudakesha? Prabhupada writes in the word-to-word translation. The conqueror of sleep, right? The master of curbing ignorance or sleep. Gudakesha means one who controls sleep, one who has conquered the sleep. Sleep means ignorance. In the sleep we forget all the knowledge. We are in the other world. So Gudakesha. So Arjun, he is described as Gudakesh. He was such a great personality. He was such sense-controlled personality. When they were studying in the Gurukul, one time he and Bhima, they were eating their dinner. A lamp was burning. A gush of wind came and the lamp was put off. Bhima continued eating. Have you ever tried eating in dark? पता ही नहीं चलेगा ना किधर क्या है, किधर सब्जी है, किधर रोटी है. But Bhima was expert. He knew exactly. Even without any light, he continued eating. So Arjun, when he saw Bhima eating in dark, he got an idea. If he can eat in dark, I can practice and shoot in dark also. So from that day on, he started practicing even in the night. And he became so expert, he could shoot arrows just by hearing the words, some noise, hit the target. And practically he conquered the sleep. That's why he is called as Gudakesha. Gudakesha Parantapa. Parantapa means one who can, what's the meaning of Parantapa? Chastiser of the enemies. Parantapa, जो दूसरों को तप देते हैं, ताप. Tap means heat. One who can disturb others, one who can chastise others. That is called as Parantapa. So Arjun, who is Gudakesha, who is Parantapa. Why Sanjay is using these words? Because Arjun, who is the chastiser of the enemies, now he is getting defeated by his ignorance. He is Gudakesha, now he is defeated by the ignorance. So what Arjun is saying, Na yotsya o Govinda. Now what is the meaning of Govinda? Go means the senses. Yeah, Govinda means Krishna, but the meaning of that word is Go means senses. Or Go means cows. ये तो cow तो जानते होंगे ना, Go. Go Vamsha, Go Hatya, Go Charan, common words. So Go means the cow also, Go means the senses also. So Krishna, he is Govinda. Vinda means one who gives pleasure. So Krishna gives pleasure to the cows and he gives pleasure to the senses also. The more we are in touch with the Lord, the more we will be happy and satisfied. In all the disturbing situations, we will be blissful, we will be stable. That is what is the meaning of Govinda. So Arjun, who is Parantapa, who is Gudakesha, he is telling to now Krishna, Na yotsya, Krishna, I don't want to fight. And then he fell silent, speaking so many words. First chapter is only Arjun speaking. Now, बोलते बोलते अभी कुछ बचा नहीं उनके पास. Have you seen somebody who comes with lots of disturbed mind and he keeps on speaking? If you allow them to speak, बोलते बोलते बोलेंगे अभी बस. Now they, after some time they feel अभी कुछ नहीं बचा है मेरे पास, सब बोल दिया है. And still they are confused. That was the situation of Arjun. Uktva tushnim babhuvaha. Srila Prabhupada writes, Dhritarashtra must have been very glad to understand that Arjun was not going to fight. Dhritarashtra is listening all this. Sanjay is doing the live telecast. Not live telecast, it is a recorded telecast. Because all these things have happened. You know that? This Bhagwat Gita was spoken when Sanjay comes back from the battlefield on the 10th day. 10th day, Bhishma falls. He fell on the bed of arrows. Till that day, Sanjay was also on the battlefield. After 10th day, Sanjay comes back. And then he starts speaking all these things. But he was actually seeing, by the mercy of Vyasdev, he was seeing the battlefield now also. So therefore he is describing exactly what is happening. That's why the first verse, when Dhritarashtra is speaking, what he says, Kim akurvat Sanjaya. If you see the first verse, 1.1. He says, Dharmashetre Kurukshetre Samavetayutsavaha Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva Kim akurvat. Kya kiya. It is past tense, because it has happened some days back. So he is asking, क्या किया उन लोगों ने, बताइए मेरे को. So Dhritarashtra, as he is speaking, Sanjay as he is speaking, Dhritarashtra was thinking, wow, लगता है अभी अर्जुन तो अभी नहीं युद्ध किया होगा. No. But Sanjay disappointed him by saying again, Parantapaha, Arjun is Parantapa. For sure he will chastise and destroy his enemies. So because Arjun has surrendered to Krishna, now Krishna will help him come out of this situation. That is the whole story of Bhagwat Gita. When people think जब जीवन में शांति होगी, जब कुछ करने के लिए नहीं होगा, तब भगवत गीता पढ़ेंगे. अभी तो बहुत कुछ है मेरे लाइफ में. I have my family, I have my business, I have my so many responsibilities. Now I don't have time for Bhagwat Gita. जब सब responsibilities खत्म हो जाएंगी, तब शांति से बैठ के भगवत गीता पढ़ेंगे. सुना ऐसा बोलते हुए किसी? शांति से आराम से पढ़ेंगे. But who is the student of Bhagavad Gita? The first student is Arjun. Was he silent? Was he peaceful? He was the most disturbed person. And he was in the midst of battlefield, the question of life and death. He chose to hear Bhagavad Gita because he knew this is the only thing which helps us in disturbing situations. It is not about the skills. All of us may be expert in our fields, whatever we may be doing. Engineers or lawyers or chartered accountants or businessmen, whatever you may be. You may be expert in your fields, but life will bring us at a point where our skills will not help us. Arjuna was expert archer. He was called as Sabyasachi. Sabyasachi means he was ambidextrous. You know anyone who can write with both the hands? Right-handed, left-handed, दोनों लिखते हैं. So Arjun was that, Sabyasachi. He was expert. No lack of skills, but still he is completely confused. He lacks the willpower now. He lacks the purpose of life. Why should I fight? Why should I do all these things? So if the purpose is strong, then we can go through all the difficult situations because I know the purpose. When we don't have purpose, then it is very difficult to continue. As Mark Twain, one of the philosophers of the past, he said, there are two most important days in our life. The day when we are born and the day when we realize why. Why we have taken birth, इतना कौन सोचता है? Time नहीं है ये सब सोचने का. But the purpose is very important. Why we are doing what we are doing. So this entire section of first chapter, second chapter describes the scary power of thoughts. Arjun, who was the leading military man, he was the main person. Entire war is depending on him. And he is saying, I can't fight. अभी इंडिया वर्ल्ड कप जीत गया ना. Who is the main batsman, main player now? Sanju?
Samson.
Sorry for my ignorance. So just imagine if he enters the cricket ground and he's about to take the bat and start batting and he says, मुझे डर लग रहा है, मेरी आंखों के सामने अंधेरा हो रहा है, मेरा बैट हाथ से छूट रहा है. तो बोलेंगे क्या हो गया इसको? What's happening to this person? That was a situation of Arjun. He was the most powerful warrior and he is saying, I can't even hold my bow. Gandivam samsrate hasta tokchaiva paridayate, we heard in the first chapter. So this is the power of thoughts. He was defeated by his thinking. Overthinking. Many of us go through all these problems. Overthinking. सोचते रहते हैं. We keep on worrying about the things. Worry is like a rocking chair. Keeps you going, takes you nowhere. You keep thinking about something and no productive result. So that's how we have to understand. If we allow the negativity to enter our minds, then it is very, very difficult to win over the situations. The first place where we have to win is our thinking. Our thoughts are very, very important. What we think, how controlled we are in our mind. Spirituality begins when we start controlling our mind. That's what Krishna says in the 6th chapter. Please take out 6th chapter, 5th verse. Krishna is telling to Arjun the power of the mind. The famous verse we have heard many times, a controlled mind is the best friend, uncontrolled mind is the worst enemy. 6.5. Bandhur Atmanatmanas? Uddhared Atmanatmanas? Okay, we'll recite this. Uddhared Atmanatmana Natmanam avasadayet Atmaevi Atmano Bandhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. Translation, somebody can please read loudly.
One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well.
Yes. And somebody can read the translation of the next verse. 6.6.
For him who has conquered the mind is the best of his friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy.
Yes. So that's the power of the mind. Spirituality begins and it revolves around making our mind focused so that we can go through the difficult situations of our life. Spirituality and spiritualist is about being optimistic. It is described, if you are not an optimist, you are an atheist. If you are thinking negative about the world, if you are thinking why all these things are happening in my life, nothing is going good in my life, हुआ है किसी के साथ ऐसा कभी? When you are thinking क्या चल रहा है मेरे जीवन में? Why all these things are happening? A spiritualist, he is or she is meant to find some good thing in all the difficult situations. Even in the darkest of the night, you will see a silver lining in the sky. That is for sure. And we have to learn to see that. Mahavipattau samsare yasmaret madhusudana vipattau tasya sampatti bhavet ityaha shankara. In this world full of problems, Mahavipattau samsare, vipatti se bhara hua ye samsar hai. How to transform vipatti into sampatti? How to transform calamities into opportunities? Yasmaret madhusudana, when we remember, learn to remember God in difficult situations. Then He will show us the way. Because we have heard previously also, not everything is dependent on our actions. In the World Cup match, this entire team, I heard they were doing many yagya also that day, और इसके पिछले semi-final में भी सिद्धि विनायक जाके आए ये लोग और क्या क्या किए. Because they know, even if we do everything nicely, some things are not in our hand. We have to do something to connect to the Lord, seek the blessings. So that's how a spiritualist is about being an optimist. What is the thought process of a spiritual person? God will always protect me in difficult situations. Avashya rakshibe Krishna iti vishwasa palan. The devotee has always this faith that Krishna, He has put me in this situation because He thinks this is the best for me. And I will try to live my life in such a way so that He can guide me. When we start questioning the existence of God, when we question why God is doing this, that means we are not keeping faith in the actions of God. We are not keeping faith in the benevolence of God. Lord is all merciful. We believe this. Krishna is all merciful. God is all merciful. Why He will do anything wrong to anyone? So a devotee, a spiritualist, always has this faith. Avashya rakshibe Krishna, even in the midst of difficult situations. We have heard in the life of Prahlad. Prahlad, he was such a great devotee of the Lord. And he was a 5-year-old boy. His father, he was the greatest atheist. He was a terrorist who was terrorizing the universe. He was the world famous terrorist, universe famous terrorist. And he wanted to kill his son Prahlad. 5-year-old boy. What he could do? He just remembered God, depended on him. He was trying to, Hiranyakashipu was trying to kill Prahlad by various ways. He gave poison. He put him in a pit full of snakes, starved him, put him under water, tried to crush him with a mountain, tried to put him under the feet of mad elephants. So many difficult situations. Tried to burn him, Holika. But still, he had this faith. And the faith can move mountains. Sometimes faith doesn't make sense, it makes miracles. Spirituality is about increasing our faith in the protection of God. So that's how a devotee should always be having this faith that whatever happens in my life, there must be something good. A devotee should have this understanding. A person is not a spiritualist. He doesn't depend on God much. For him, things are different. For him, he or she is governed by the laws of nature, represented by Durga Devi. Durga Devi is the controller of this universe. She controls the laws of nature here. As soon as we shift and come to start practicing spirituality, depending on Krishna, then we are out of the jurisdiction of Durga Devi. Krishna tells in Bhagwat Gita, Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam. This material nature is working under my direction. And to control this material nature, it is impossible. How to overcome this? Krishna describes that. I think he describes that in the 10th chapter. Anyways, I'm not remembering the verse. This verse says, Daivi hi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. My nature is very, very strong and insurmountable. Daivi hi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Mameva ye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. Anyone who takes shelter of me, he can easily cross over. So that is the power of taking shelter of God. One time there was a small boy. He was just 5 years old boy. He had only his mother. His father was not there. And one day, in their village, some devotees came and they were staying for 4 months in the period of Chaturmas. We have heard this word Chaturmas, the 4 seasons where saintly people, they don't travel. So the mother of this small boy, she got a chance to prepare some prasad for these saints. She was serving them and the small boy was helping his mother. He also started hearing some discussions, something about God. Just by serving these great saints, he became such attracted to God. And he practically became self-realized. 4 months passed by. These sages, they left. One day, his mother was going to the forest to milk the cows. There was some cows in the forest. She went there. Unfortunately, she was bitten by a serpent. She died. Just imagine the scenario. Small 5 years old boy, only his mother, nobody else, and she is also gone. ऐसे situation में कोई व्यक्ति क्या करेगा? What he will do? What are the various types of responses people give when things go wrong in their life? Can anyone tell me? क्या क्या बोलते हैं लोग? Why did this happen to me? Okay. और blame God, ये भगवान क्यों कर रहे हैं मेरे साथ ऐसा? और अच्छे लोगों को ही परेशान करते हैं, बुरे लोग तो मजा करते रहते हैं. Okay. और any other things? These are the basic things, But this small boy Narada, actually, who was this boy? He was Narad Muni in his past life. Small boy. The small boy, because he heard the devotees, he understood the value of life, the nature of this world. This mother, when she died, you know what he said? Tada tadamishasya bhaktanam sham abhipsitah anugraham manyamana pratishtham dishamuttaram. He considered it as some inconceivable will of the Lord, and he accepted it as the mercy of the Lord. How difficult it is to accept calamities as mercy of the Lord. It is not so easy. But the more we advance in spirituality, we learn to see problems as the opportunities to come closer to God. Bhaktanam sham abhipsitah. Sham means Shankar, common word, Bhagwan Shivji, Shankar. What's the meaning of Shankar? मालूम है, बचपन से बोल रहे ना शंकर भगवान. शंकर भगवान का मतलब क्या होता है? शम करोति इति शंकरा. Sham means auspicious. One who brings auspiciousness in the others' lives. Shankar. तो ये क्या बोल रहे हैं? भक्तानाम शम अभिप्सितः. The Lord always desires good for his devotees. He never desires wrong for his devotees, because he is the father and mother of everyone. Can any father, mother desire ill for their children? Never. So he considered it anugraha. Anugraha means blessing. Kripa हो गई. Not ordinary kripa. बहुत बड़ी कृपा हो गई. Anugraha is not daya. Anugraha is the extreme level of mercy. Anugraham manyamana. He considered it as the mercy of the Lord. So that's how when we learn to see calamities as opportunities, and when this will happen, when we start this practice of spirituality. What we did in the beginning of our class, this process that is called as chanting. That is the most simplest way of meditation for Kali Yuga. All the other ways of meditation, they are not as powerful as chanting of the names of the Lord. In the previous times, in Satya Yuga, the way to connect to God was, you go to the forest and you do tapasya for thousands of years. Can we do that? Can we do fasting also? साल में हमारी एक बार एकादशी में निर्जल एकादशी होती है. Any of you have fasted any time निर्जल, बिना पानी पिए? So for those who have done it, they know it is not so easy. हमारे कुछ डिवोटीज तो 2-4 दिन पहले से पानी पीना शुरू करते हैं. निर्जल एकादशी आ रही, सुन के ही प्यास लग जाती है. So we can't do much of tapasya. Bodily tapasya is difficult in Kali Yuga. In Treta Yuga, the way to connect to the Lord was, you do big yajna. बड़ी यज्ञ कुंड बन रहे हैं और आहुतियां डाली जा रही हैं, घी डाल रहे हैं. यहाँ के लोग बोलेंगे यार ये तो घी खाने के लिए नहीं मिल रहा है. अच्छा, सब कंटामिनेटेड है इधर, आग में कहाँ डालेंगे? Not possible. There are no priests qualified to chant proper mantras. Not possible in Kali Yuga. In Dwapar Yuga, the way was to do worship of the Lord in the temple, bring the deities of the Lord and worship them. That is also difficult because so many rules and regulations are there. Just to purify the place where we are standing, so many mantras we have to chant. To purify the ingredients we have to offer to the Lord, so many mantras, not possible. Therefore, the simplest is given for Kali Yuga people, and that is chanting of the names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Anyone, anywhere, anytime. Nadesha niyamat tatra nakala niyamas tatha. There are no restrictions of place. यहाँ पे करें chanting, यहाँ पे नहीं करें. Anywhere we can chant. Anytime we can chant. बस सोने के बाद नहीं कर सकते. बस सोते जब करने में नींद आती है वो बात अलग है. Arjun, he had a speciality. He was so absorbed in Krishna. He was such a great fighter. He is an ideal example of a spiritualist who was the worldly man. People say अभी ये सब करने के लिए सब छोड़ना पड़ेगा ना, थोड़ा सब घर गृहस्थी से विरक्त होना पड़ेगा लगता है. No. Virakti is a different thing. You can stay in your house, you can do all the household responsibilities, but still be detached. You know how? Please take out 5th chapter, 10th verse. Krishna gives a wonderful example. How to be in this world and not of this world. Krishna gives the beautiful example which we have seen many times. Brahmanyadhaya karmani.
Brahmanya Adaya Karnani.
वही है ना?
What's that?
5.10. ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि
Brahmadaya Karnani.
संगम त्यक्त्वा करोति यः
Sangam Tata Karoti.
लिप्यतेन स पापेन
Tiptasena Papena.
पद्मपत्रं विवाम्भसा.
Patra Pramya.
Translation somebody can read.
One who performs this duty without attachment, surrendering the result unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action as the lotus leaf is untouched by water.
We have to become like a lotus leaf. Be in this world, not of this world. The lotus leaf can stay in, mud, but still untouched. Untouched by water, untouched by all the dirt. That's how we have to become. Even in the midst of all the problems, just like in the COVID times, people were concerned about their immunity. They were wearing all the PPE kits and increasing their immunity by taking some immunity boosters, vaccine. This is for the immunization of the body. How to immunize the mind? How to stay away from the negativities? That immunity comes when we connect to the Lord. That is our Padma Patra Ivambasa. If we want to become like a lotus leaf, we have to connect to the supremely positive personality, that is God. Krishna is all positive. He is all pure. He never gets affected by anything of this world. And anyone who comes in touch with the God, he also gets that same potency. Just like if you put an iron rod in fire, after some time, the iron rod becomes fiery. It will also burn. When we bring our mind and consciousness in touch with Lord, that consciousness becomes purified and spiritual. That is what we are aiming for. So therefore, when things go wrong in our life, we should ask this one question: what should I do now? We always ask this question, why this is happening? We should not ask why. We should ask what. अब क्या करना है? And we have to approach a teacher. If we can't understand what we have to do, approach a person. Because when people ask, मेरे जीवन में क्यों हो रहा है? Nobody can give answer to this. It is like a person who goes to a doctor and doctor says, you have malaria, please take this medicine. And the patient says, doctor sahab, I have one question. Unless you answer this, I will not take the medicine. Can you please tell me which mosquito bit me? कौन सा मच्छर काटा पे लोग बताओ? Can anyone tell? Nobody can tell. So what the doctor can say? Please take the treatment. You should know what you should do now. Why this has happened? Nobody can tell. Some mosquito bit. So we may have done some actions. That's why we are going through the reaction. That's why Krishna tells in the 4th chapter, 17th verse. Very, very important verse. Krishna mentions. Krishna is telling Arjun, you should know what is action, what is right type of action, what is wrong type of action. 4.17, yes. You got it? 4.17. कर्मणो हि अपि बोधव्यम् बोधव्यं च विकर्मणः अकर्मणश्च बोधव्यम् गहना कर्मणो गतिः. Translation somebody.
The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is.
So it is very difficult to understand which karma, which action of mine gave me this reaction. Gahana karmano gati. Never ask this question. Why? Because nobody can give answer. Only God knows. One time Dhritarashtra asks Krishna, Krishna, what was my fault? Why I had to see my 100 sons being killed in front of me? And Krishna is God, he can give the answer. He knows. So he says, Dhritarashtra, 50 lifetimes back. He goes back to 50 lifetimes. He says, 50 lifetimes back you are a king. Once you went to the forest and you killed 100 baby birds. And you had to go through the reaction of it. Every life you had 2 sons in your quota. You didn't have any child for last 50 births. And all that karma, punya got accumulated. Now in this life you had the punya of 100 sons. And you got 100 sons. But 50 lifetimes back, wala, you can never escape your karma. You can never run away. We can run away from the government of this world. We cannot run away from the laws of the nature. Even if we see something, if we do something in dark, some sinful activity, the thief says, nobody saw me doing this stealing, so now I am safe. No, sir, you are not safe. You may run away from the government of this world, but there are 12 witnesses who are seeing all our actions. कौन कौन से 12 साक्षी हमारे कर्मों के मालूम है आप लोगों को? All of you have mobiles with you? You can please go and Google one verse. SB, this is from Bhagavatam, this is not from Bhagwat Gita. 6.1.42. This is a very, very interesting verse which describes who are the witness of our actions. मिल गया सबको? 6.1.42. This is Lord Yamraj. Yamraj is himself telling who are the witnesses of our actions. You can Google it. SB 6.1.42. मिल गया? We'll sing this verse. Suryagni kham maruddevah
Suragni Manuke Vande
Soma sandhyahani dishaha
Soma Sandhyasni
Kamko swayam dharmaiti
Karmo Swayam Dharmeti
Yete dahyasya sakshinaha.
Kite Daya Shakshina
साक्षी कौन कौन है? ये 12 लोग हैं हमारे कर्मों के साक्षी. Translation please.
The sun, fire, sky, air, demigods, moons, evening, day, night, direction, water, land, and Supersoul himself all witnesses the activity of the living entity.
कुछ बच गया? कोई बोल सकता है नहीं मैंने तो कुछ भी गड़बड़ किया, किसी ने नहीं देखा. You can't escape. CCTV cameras are everywhere. In the heart there is one CCTV camera, that is Paramatma. He is always watching. Upadrashta Anumanta. He is always observing what we are doing. So therefore, better to align with the laws of nature and better to do what Krishna wants us to do. He wants us to connect to Him. Satatam kirtayanto mam. Krishna is telling again and again. In Bhagwat Gita, there are some descriptions. There are some prescriptions. You will hear some descriptions. Okay, we are not this body, we are soul. And there are some prescriptions. Krishna will tell something which we have to do in our life. For example, one of the prescriptions Krishna gives in the 2nd chapter, this chapter only, he'll give 14th verse. Now please take out 14th verse. That is the first prescription and the most important prescription Krishna is giving to Arjuna. This one thing we have to start practicing in our lives. मिल गया सबको? मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय
Matra Swashatu Kanteya
शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदाः
Doshna Sukha Dukkada
आगमापायिनो नित्या
Anurama Payano Nitya
तां स्थितिक्षस्व भारत.
Tamsa Siksha Bharata.
Translation please.
O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearances in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from self-perception. O sins of Bharata, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
One must learn to tolerate. And if you have underwent Ayurvedic treatment where they put leeches, leech लगाया किसी ने? क्या आपने लगाया? So leech,
Blood
leech
suction.
sucks the impure blood, leech. And if once it is stuck to your skin, you can't pull it away. It will tear apart your skin. So, what to do when some leech is stuck to the skin? When you don't have salt, when you don't have turmeric, generally वो डालते हैं तो छोड़ देता है वो. You know what we have to do?
Wait for it to be fed.
हाँ बस, just wait. उसका पेट भर जाएगा ना, अपने आप छोड़ेगा वो. The problems are like leeches. We become overreactive. क्यों हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है, क्यों हो रहा है, कैसे हो गया, नहीं होना चाहिए था. Wait. You may say, Baba, some problems they never go away. That leech never leaves us. What to do then? Then we have to go to the second level of understanding. First, learn to tolerate. They'll go. Because Krishna says, Anitya, Matra Sparsha Sukantya, Sheet Ushna Sukha Dukha, Agama, Apaina. Agama means they come, Apaina, and they go. Anitya, they are temporary. Tolerate. What if the pains are not temporary? There are some pains in our life, they come and they never leave, right? Any of us have any pains which never leave? सबके पास होगा ना कुछ तो प्रॉब्लम जीवन में, बॉडी में, some backache, some knee pain, some ये, some वो problem, health problem, family problems which never leave. What to do about those situations? Tolerate. And for that, you know what we need? Is a beautiful statement. Oh Lord, give me the strength to tolerate the things which I can't change, a strength to change the things which I can, and the wisdom to understand the difference between the two. There are always some things which we will never be able to change. कभी नहीं बदलेंगे, मेरे जीवन से जाएंगी नहीं कभी. बोलो, सहन करो. सहन करने की शक्ति मांगिए भगवान से. Because if we are not able to tolerate, we'll be frustrated. And there are some things which we can change. Ask the power and strength to change those things. How I'll understand किसको बदलना है, किसको सहन करना है. कई बार हम लोग जो सहन करना है उसको बदलने का ट्राई करते हैं, जो बदल सकते हैं उसको बदलते नहीं हैं. That intelligence will be given by Krishna. God gives the intelligence, and when He'll give the intelligence, when we connect to Him by regularly meditating on Him, chanting His names, that is what He says in the 10th chapter, 10th verse. Very, very powerful, another very powerful verse. In that, Krishna says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. Anyone who remembers me always, connects to me, I give them the intelligence by which they can be conscious of me. So that is the whole process of learning Bhagavad Gita. Try to be conscious of God. Try to see the calamities as opportunities to advance in consciousness. And how we will do that? The simple process is by regularly chanting the names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So those who are chanting, please chant with more attention. Quality is important. Quantity is important, but quality is more important. Those who are not chanting, please start chanting regularly, because that is the only thing which we will do every day at our homes. गीता क्लास तो संडे को एक दिन होती है, और होमवर्क आपको 6 दिन का और मिलता है. That we have to chant, we have to connect to the Lord by regularly chanting. Okay, so I'll stop here. Anybody has any questions or comments or any reflections? Yes.
Guruji, here they say Gita is words of the Lord. It's spoken by Krishna's words. Then why this Sanjay Vacha, Arjuna Vacha, Dhritarashtra
खाली
Vacha?
कृष्णा का ही होना चाहिए था ना.
It's a
Only Shri Bhagwan
Side
Vacha
characters.
होना चाहिए था ना. But all these other verses, they help us to come to this conclusion when Krishna speaks. they are all supporting Krishna's speech. So they are also Bhagavad Gita. 1.1 Dhritarashtra Uvacha is also Bhagavad Gita, although it is spoken by Dhritarashtra. That's why it is there in Bhagavad Gita. So Vyasdev is writing, so that means he is writing right thing. So he has accepted this verse in Gita. So that means this verse, it helps us to get the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. That's how it is yoga. All this lamentation of Arjuna is also yoga. Generally, lamentation, distress takes us away from God. But Arjuna's lamentation, that is called as Arjun Vishad Yoga. Vishad means lamentation. Lamentation takes us away from God. But यहाँ पे अर्जुन का विषाद is bringing him closer to God. योग हो रहा है. So that is Bhagavad Gita. That is the beauty of spirituality. When you bring Krishna in your life, when you go to God, or when you go to a spiritual teacher, your lamentation can become yoga. So that's why all these verses, they help us get the knowledge of Krishna. So that's why they are included in Bhagavad Gita. They are also equally powerful. Okay. Any other question? Yes.
Prabhuji, you mentioned faith, right? It's important to have faith in life. Is it important to have faith in God? Because there are certain kinds of faith, right? कुछ लोग बोलते हैं, like I've heard people say, my friends say, you know, a certain person of the family has passed. I have faith in my, let's say, passed away dadi, that she will guide me. So that faith is there. The other faith is just say, my karma, I really believe my karma will save me from whatever happens in my life. So there are different kinds of faith. So how is it different from faith in God, and which one is preferred, or any faith is good?
There are many things which people, they start practicing out of their own understanding, which are not mentioned in scriptures. Spirituality is based on scriptures. If somebody says, I don't believe in scriptures, but I am spiritual, not possible. Spirituality can never be practiced if we are not referring to scriptures. They are not mythology, they are real. Anything written in scriptures, it is real. And the faith which we put in scriptures, it is not a blind faith, it is reasonable faith. Our faith is not because this person is saying this, or this ancestor of mine, he will guide me, as you are saying. These are general sentiments which some people may have. But the actual understanding which Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita, what type of faith we should cultivate? The faith in the words of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. This is the trio of our spiritual life. Guru, spiritual teachers, Sadhu, other saintly people, and Shastra, scriptures. We have to learn to keep faith in these three things. If anything doesn't fit in these three things, we should not put faith in. We put faith in, just like how many of you have stopped when a cat crosses the road? रुकते हैं, कुछ लोग रुकते होंगे. But there is no scriptural reference for this. It is all made up story. Just like Prabhupada tells a funny story. One time there was a marriage going on, and the mother, the groom's mother, she's doing all the arrangements, and she saw a cat moving in the house and creating a fuss. She tells somebody, tokri leke aao, tokri. She gets the tokri, catches the cat, covers the cat with the tokri, and the marriage goes on nicely. And the bride sees all this. Now she had a son, he grew up, उसकी शादी का समय आया. All arrangements are done. She says, सब हो गया, एक चीज की कमी है. किसकी?
टोकरी और बिल्ली.
टोकरी और बिल्ली. बोले क्यों? वो नहीं मालूम. जब मेरी शादी हो रही थी ना, तो मेरी सास ने भी टोकरी में बिल्ली को टोकरी से ढका था. So कुछ तो होगा ना इसमें. There must be some significance behind this. And this is called as blind faith. Our faith is not blind. Our faith has a reason. Just like when we go to a doctor, what all things we see in a doctor before consulting him?
Degree.
Experience. Reviews. Amazon पे कुछ भी खरीदने के पहले क्या देखते हैं? Reviews. And then you go to a doctor take treatment, and then you get the results. There are two parts of our faith. One is a sensible part. That means the degree, the credibility, the diagnosis, the reputation, all these are the sensible part. And then you go to a doctor, take treatment, and you get cured. That is a verifiable part. These two things, they make our faith reasonable. Sensible plus verifiable. So that type of faith we recommend. That type of faith we should keep in scriptures, in the saintly people. Not blind faith कि भाई ये बोलते हैं मैं इस पे विश्वास करता हूँ, मैं इस पे विश्वास करता हूँ. Sometimes our faith are blind. We have to learn to come to a reasonable faith. And scriptures, putting faith in scriptures, it is very, very reasonable. Because it is verifiable. Whatever we practice, we can see the results. As it is said, the proof of pudding is in eating. You start practicing it, you will get the results. So that type of faith we should practice. Not blind faith कि भाई इसको मान लिया वो भी faith है. Our faith is based on scriptures. If some guru also says something which is not written in scriptures, we don't accept it. Scriptures are the basis. Books are the basis. There are some great leaders in today's day and age. They say, I have never read Bhagwat Gita. I have never read any scriptures, any Vedas. But still he is followed by millions. And what type of knowledge that person is giving? So we have to understand, in today's day and age, people are attracted by word jugglery. You know, some people say क्या बोला वो? क्या बोला? वो समझा नहीं, लेकिन क्या बोला? So that is useless. If you can't understand, if you can't apply in your life, if there are no conclusions drawn, then it is not worth. That is our faith, scriptures. Okay, and the faith will grow when we associate with people who have that faith. Because ultimately spirituality is all about increasing our faith in Bhagavad Gita, scriptures and God. Okay. Yes.
So when you're working in, say, jobs, you are always told that, say, if you see something wrong, try to improve it. And, just don't sit on your hands, try to do something about it. Same thing we are taught about society also, right? That's how society improves. But my doubt is coming when you said that you should see if you can tolerate that situation. So isn't it going contrary to what other people are saying?
Okay. So I told that statement, try to change things which we can. It is not about just tolerating things in the beginning. मतलब अभी मैं बीमार हूँ, सहन करो. This is foolishness. You have to rectify the situation. But there are some things which will never change. Even if you try to rectify, there are some diseases which never go. Some pains, some aches never go from our lives. उसके बारे में क्या करना है? You tried everything. एलोपैथी, होम्योपैथी, सब पति ट्राई कर लिए, फिर भी नहीं जा रहा है, तो क्या करेंगे? सहन. Because in that situation, if we don't learn to tolerate, we'll be frustrated. This tolerance gives us peace of mind. It is not about being callous about the problems. It is about becoming peaceful in our life. When we learn to tolerate the situations, we become peaceful. When we learn to accept people, we learn to have good relationships. So that's how we have to learn to accept people. Some people will never change. Any of you have ever been irritated by somebody who opened a cupboard and never closed the door? मतलब यार खोलते हैं, बंद क्यों नहीं करता है ये? उनको 10 बार बोल दिया फिर भी नहीं बंद करते हैं, खोल के छोड़ देते हैं. That's how some people are. So 10 बार बोल दिया, 15 बार बोल दिया, still that person is not changing. क्या करेंगे? Two options. Either you keep shouting at this person and you strain your relationship, or accept it. बस ये ऐसे ही है, ये सुधरने वाले नहीं है. Learn to accept them. We'll become peaceful. Our relationships will survive. So that's how when we accept people, our relationships become stable. When we accept the situations, we become peaceful in mind. So that when we learn to accept the place where we are in, we feel comfortable. ये ऐसा क्यों है, वैसा क्यों है, accept it. Some things will never change. You enter a house and you find out अरे वास्तु इसका गड़बड़ है, क्या, learn to tolerate it. Then you'll be comfortable. Because anyways, all these things, they don't matter much in the Kali Yuga. Okay. So it is not about running away from the problems. It is about those problems which you can't change. Learn to tolerate. If somebody speaks something, it is about prioritizing. Just like one time the couple was driving a car and he saw somebody driving faster. So wife tells the husband, hey, he's going ahead of you. What are you doing? You drive faster. And he started driving more and with more speed. And ultimately, they managed to, just put this person behind, and then they realized, we missed the turn 1 kilometer back. 1 kilometer पे right लेना था. इसको पीछे करने के चक्कर में we forgot that. So we should prioritize. What do we want in life? Do we want to just be disturbed by the problems or focus on some other goal? कुछ तो लोग रहेंगे ऐसे जो परेशान करेंगे हमेशा. It's like in the local trains you must have seen some people, they keep fighting. वो fourth seat पे बैठने के लिए झगड़ा होता है कभी कभी. And both of them, they get down on a station and keep fighting and the train goes. So what's the use? So learn to understand कि भाई किस पे focus करना है. कुछ छोटी छोटी चीजें learn to just tolerate. सहन कर लो. Because they are not much of importance in our life. If we start focusing on small things, we may miss the big things. So that is what spirituality teaches us. Okay. Any other questions?
I actually quite relate to the question you asked, because corporate life mein usually there is a lot of moral dilemma. There are people who want to do the right thing, not take credit, do the right thing, but there will be people who always like hogging credit, bad mouthing people who don't really have like strong morals, and you're working with like a big team of different personalities and all of that. So sometimes it becomes a moral dilemma कि मैं तो ठीक कर रहा हूँ, क्या should I punish this person by exposing, or should I not bother? So it's a very difficult space to be in.
I'll
but
tell
as
you.
Prabhuji said, you need to pick your battles. You can't really be like a warrior every
I'll tell you a wonderful story. One time, Narad Muni, he was preaching to a snake. And he told him, why are you biting everyone? That's my nature. He said, no, you should not bite everyone. It is not good. And the snake understood. He said, okay. After 1 week, Narad Muni came back. Follow up. And he saw this snake was in blood. He had wounds all over his body. What happened? You only said that don't bite. People came to know they are throwing stones at me. So Narad Muni told, I told you not to bite. I didn't tell you not to hiss. Hissing is sufficient to drive people away. So sometimes in the corporate world, we should learn to hiss. We did not bite people. We need not behave the way they are behaving. But we should, by our actions, we should tell them, you can't do this to me. We should be firm in our stand. Because our purpose is different. When we come to spirituality, it is not just about my material things. I want to connect to God. I want to keep my mind peaceful. If my mind is disturbed, how will I focus on Krishna? If my family is disturbed, how will I focus on Krishna? I was supposed to be promoted, but this person didn't allow me. So I was about to do something more for my family and more for God, but now I am not getting a chance. So I should not just sit and say, ठीक है, अभी भगवत गीता में सुन के आए हैं, सहन करो. Was Arjuna tolerating? The whole battle started why? Because the kingdom was not given to Pandavas. They could have said सहन करेंगे. कृष्ण ने क्या बोला? नहीं. We'll fight back. So we should know when to fight back and when to tolerate. It is not just a one-way thing. सहन ही करना है. No, it is not about tolerating. It is about when to tolerate, how much to tolerate, what's the purpose of my tolerance. So that is important. Otherwise, this world is a very cruel world. Especially corporate world is like that. So we have to be on guard. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Shrimad Bhagwat Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We'll have a few minutes of kirtan. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Gopinath, Radha Gopinath Radhe. Jaya Radha
Radha Gopinath Radhe.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai
Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
जय कलियुग पावन हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Thank you, Hare Krishna.